Hello, little ones. Would you like to hear a story? I've got one for you. Of dungeons and douchebags. Long ago, the land of Ariane was governed by many majestic empires. The humans of the plains, the elves of the forest, the Oreads of the mountains, the Merrow of the oceans, and the kobolds and Okiti taking what was left. But, as is so common amongst all with darkness in their hearts, those who had power would not be satisfied until they had more. War broke out, alliances being made and broken in a second, as the once civilized races slew each other in droves in vain attempts to get one more seat of power. The kobolds, on the brink of annihilation, sought out a new draconic god who would protect them. Instead, they found Jogotha. A powerful and terrible dragon, Jogotha cared not for the suffering of those around him. Taking advantage of the warring continent, Jogotha razed Ariane to the ground, seeking to carve a mighty empire in his name. A last desperate alliance stood firm against Jogotha, and after a terrible battle, the dragon was finally slain. With Ariane torn apart, and no one in any shape to continue the war, an armistice was reached, and the Great War ended. Now, many years later, Ariane has started to rebuild, and the age of clockwork has begun. And our unlikely heroes, gathered first to celebrate a harvest festival, may soon find themselves at the center of another war. Trevlon, the halfling bard.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this mystery right after I've had this little nap.
Corellian, the kobold paladin.
You must understand, I will do whatever it takes.
Malifane, the half-elf rogue.
You have me rather curious. Tell me something about you.
Thavagath, the Goliath barbarian.
With victory comes honor. And goes.
And Momo, the Arakakra cleric.
You seem tense. Let me help you.
From humble beginnings, these brave adventurers may soon find themselves the key to saving the fallen empires. Last time on Dungeons and Douchebags, Fallen Empires. Our heroes awoke to a great clatter considering the basement right below them was being excavated. And as they went to check on it, they saw that Kailani was talking to Mr. Fox, who said that although they didn't take his deal, he was still free to come back in the morning. They were naturally very suspicious, but both Kailani and Mr. Fox said they were just talking about divinity, so they let it be. Excavation of the basement was difficult, as there were vines, thorny plants, and ivy, holding back rubble and planks that were sealing the entranceway. Trevlon decided that perhaps it would be best to bestow a curse upon the ivy, making it more susceptible to necrotic rot. But when he did, he found it was connected to some force that talked back to him and did not seem pleased. After getting the working crew to back away very slowly so they wouldn't get hurt or cursed to something else, Trevlon and company tried talking to the thing some more, until they lit the Lantern of Revealing, and showed the form of Ishka, a ghostly, vulture-like Aarakocra, who claimed to be the major domo of House Batten Rance. Our heroes alternated between being terrified and being apologetic, but eventually made a deal with the ghostly major domo. They would renovate Batten Rance Hall back to its former glorious self, and he would presumably not haunt and or hurt them. Later that day, a lizardfolk raider made his way onto the grounds of Batten Rance Hall, but was quickly slain, and our heroes were reunited with his pursuers. Ravanala, Solana, and Umarayak of the Shi-Sin-Thay, the Elven Commando Unit. The group stayed over for dinner and talked about how the Shi-Sin-Thay's attention was split. On one front, pursuing and defending against the emboldened lizardfolk raiders, and the other investigating the source of the strange insects that had plagued their sacred grove. The next morning, many of the construction projects were complete, including the excavation of the basement, which, while it was clear now, had a trap door that was chained and locked up with 5 padlocks. Ishka seemed not to care too much about what was down there, especially considering that, in his eyes, the party's end of the deal had not yet been fulfilled. But as our party was ordering a new tavern to be built on the grounds of Batten Rance Hall, Lord Storm Kirk rode in, evaluating their progress, and saying that he had come to collect on his favor. What job does Lord Storm Kirk have in mind? What other secrets does Batten Rance Hall hold? Are we sure we should have built that tavern first? Cause, adventurers could come, but I'm not sure there's gonna be much to attract them here or anything. Find out on the next episode of Dungeons and Douchebags, Fallen Empires. Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Douchebags, Fallen Empires. I am your host, Alex, and I am sending these fuckers through adventures in real estate and being very tense at every moment. Joining me today, we have Atlas.
This is my only chance to afford a house.
We have Jojo.
I want to set my bones on fire.
We have Scott.
Wait, what's money again?
And we have Walrus.
This episode of Fallen Empires is sponsored by Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its. It's red and it makes you feel bad.
Nabisco, please sponsor us.
Please give us money to mention your products.
Please.
Yeah.
Cheez-Its, please.
Cheez-Its.
I'll eat all
Give
of
us
them.
the money. All right.
I'll eat all of your Cheez-Its crisps.
Phil is not able to make it because he is placed under a sleeping spell and can only be woken by True Love's kiss, so that's going to be a while.
Well,
I can't believe that. All right. So, when last we left off, our heroes were overseeing some construction on their work in Batten Rance Hall. They were looking good. A lot of stuff had been built. A lot more stuff was in the process of being built. And they had ordered a tavern to be built on the grounds, which could be interesting and bring in some of the adventuring types. When the sound of hoofbeats filled the air, and their patron, Lord Storm Kirk, arrived at Batten Rance Hall, looking around. Not bad. It's slowly becoming something. And then he turns to you. I'm here to collect on my favor.
Oh.
Okay. That's interesting.
Are we outside or inside?
You are currently outside.
Okay. He just brings his entire carriage inside, mucking up the floors and shit.
Nope.
We would love to be called in for that. But first, why don't you come in? We've got a hall ready for you to have a look at, and we can talk over the dinner table. Yeah.
All right. He nods. Get off the horse. You lead him into the hall, which is still kind of being polished up. He looks around, looks at the common room, sees that one of the chairs around the dinner table has been broken. And then Bert, the second in command who's in charge of, ordering all the stuff, quickly rushes in with another chair and puts it down and runs out, not looking him in the eye.
Wow.
It's been an interesting few, month and a bit, for sure.
I see. All right. Storm Kirk sits down. Well, the rest of you, sit.
Mama does so.
Cool.
As does Trev.
All right. So, as you all sit down, he looks around. How much do you know about the real estate business in Port Myrandu?
Oh my.
I feel like everyone just turns to look at Trevlon.
Oh, shit!
Trevlon stays silent but looks at Lord Stormkirk very attentively.
Well, for those of you who do not, the way it usually works is that the districts in Port Myrandu pay their taxes yearly in exchange for maintenance and protection. The slums of Port Myrandu are rather notorious for not doing this, and when they default on their taxes, the land becomes up for auction. And that is where the city bank comes in. The head banker there, a fellow by the name of Nalur Nalad, which I'm going to type in chat because, haha, who cares about spelling, right?
I kinda do.
Yeah.
I also find it is useful as a concept.
Nice.
I have notes.
We have notes now. People are looking at notes. I'm so proud that they finally figured out. Look at notes. All right.
I have extensive notes. Thank you very much.
I've been looking at those, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
City
as
owns the
I was
bank,
saying,
right?
yeah, the city bank and the man who runs it, a man by the name of Nalur Nulad, has been buying up property and homes around the slums of Port Myrandu. He is currently looking into a district that is about to fall under, the Lower Monsoon District. By tomorrow, it will become up for auction, and I suspect he is going to put up a substantial bit of money for it. I, however, have use for that particular district, and would very much like him to not succeed in getting it.
I recognize it might not be our business to ask this. What interests you about that particular bit of land, sir?
It happens to be at a strategic checkpoint where, if one were to build up, let us say, a military base there, it would strengthen the power that I currently hold over this place. They don't really... Sorry, let me back up a little bit. Not everyone respects my authority here as of yet. If I were to build a fortress in the Lower Monsoon District, not only would Ariane fall into line, but the rest of the 10 realms would finally recognize that yes, I am back in power.
Would people have to be displaced to do this?
Well, obviously.
Okay, right. Trevlon is looking elsewhere, thinking very hard, and decides to speak up. If they are going to be displaced, surely it would be... Would you allow it if we invited the people who are getting moved to stay here instead, along the tenements?
I've looked over your facilities. Even if you did invite everyone in the Lower Monsoon District to stay at Batten Rance Hall, you do not have sufficient facilities to cover everyone. Whatever security you're building couldn't cover them all, whatever tenements you have couldn't house them all, whatever farm you have couldn't feed them all. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Bluequill?
I do. Do you know what the banker intends to do with that land?
I don't know, but he has been buying up quite a bit of the slums. Something about gentrification, nothing I really concern myself with.
So, what do you want us to do with this information?
I'm glad you asked. You see, due to the rules and regulations of estate sale at that higher level, no one can simply put up a claim and have that be that. Nalunalad would have 24 hours before his claim were to go through. In that time, if someone else were to offer up a higher amount of money, they could reset the clock unless the other buyers could top that. This would go up for up to 72 hours. I currently do not have the capital to go up against the city bank, but there are several nobles who would be in their best interests to have me owe them a favor. And if you could persuade them to add their coffers to mine, then perhaps the city bank could be, let us say, finally at a loss.
Okay. I presume since this is indeed a favor, we're doing this. And this isn't so much a yes, we're cool with it, no, we're not cool with it sort of situation, then.
I'm glad you understand me, Mr. Bluequill.
So, who are the nobles and what do they owe you?
There are 4 of them. One of them, his name is Fergus McKells. He is the headman of faith in Port Myrandu. It's through It's through him that all sorts of shrines and temples are set up and blessed around the city. I'm typing all this out because there are a lot of names that you might need to remember.
Thank you, my lord.
What fourth wall? It's fallen empires, baby!
No need.
Baby!
Alright. There's also Giovanni Goldtooth, the Grand Aegis of the city guard. He's the one who makes sure that law and order still run within the streets of Port Myrandu. He used to be an adventurer, but he took up the position because it paid him more.
Not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna say something else, and it was gonna make me very angry.
Delete yourself.
Delete yourself. Alright.
I'm glad you all know.
Mm-hmm. Then there is Duke Roderick Redwald, the last remnant of the noble society that used to run Port Myrandu. It became too expensive or too stressful or something, and he gave up the position so that it became a democracy. And then, of course, there's someone I believe you're already familiar with, Mayor Morkid Lionbelly.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be able to attend the first three, but that kettle of fish ain't going to be something I can bargain with.
We'll take it. You don't have to.
Just pretend you're working for the other side, Trelawn, and I'm sure he'll fund us just to spite you.
Point taken.
Oh, and by the way, I don't care what methods you use, but I would strongly suggest against violence or theft against the city bank. If and when you are discovered, I will not back you up, and you will have to deal with those consequences on your own.
Of course.
No back robbing. Got it.
Well, looks like we're actually... This is under his breath. Looks like we're actually in agreement on something.
By the way, Malafane, Mr. Lythos, how are you enjoying the library?
It's... oh, it's very, very nice. Thank you for asking.
He just gives a curt nod.
Might I ask, how did you find Miss Creana?
Mr. Lythos, are you implying that I would specifically seek out your fiancée, knowing that you had made plans to escape this place at first opportunity, so that if you attempted, you would knowingly leave her behind? Those are some very paranoid thoughts, Mr. Lythos.
A mere
Mama kinda just, like-
curiosity, nonetheless.
Mama kind of just looks down and looks away.
Crowley flat out just snickers at this. Cause duh.
A mere curiosity.
I must say, if you were to do something like that, you would be a shrewd tactician, my lord.
I see. I shall take that as a compliment, then.
So, before we go and get this started, remind me, is there a deadline for this that we should keep in mind?
Mulad is going to place his, let us call it, auction on the lower monsoon district first thing tomorrow. If we do not get any money that could top that by the end... If we do not get enough money to overtake his bid by the end of that day, it belongs to him. You have a very tight deadline, Mr. Bluequill. Do not waste it.
And, what is the amount that you're willing to put up on your own?
As I scroll down, because I did math it out.
Yay, mapping.
Yay.
Yay!
I'm willing to offer up 100,000 gold, no more.
No more. That's,
Very generous.
It would be well
It's
worth
kind
it
of-
to get my throne in Ariane back.
I would presume at least that some of these folks won't be particularly hard to convince. I mean, the reason we came in contact in the first place is because of Lionbelly.
Well, however you try to persuade them, it is entirely up to you. Given that they have such noble standing, I cannot imagine it would be easy. But, given that in your adventures you have had many run-ins with nobles at various stations, I'm sure it's nothing new.
Right.
It's not.
Well, if the deadline's that tight, we should be going right away.
Agreed.
I presume that the payment we're going to receive for this will be our continued safety and staying here. Yeah?
But of course, think of it as an investment in your future.
Well then, I'll start getting ready. Oh, one more thing before I forget. The old master of the house of the place, I believe he's nearly a little over 800 years old. Yeah, he's a ghost, and he lives in the basement. So,
Really?
Yeah.
I had heard tales of the ghosts of Batten Rance Hall. I figured they were merely tales. Apparently I was wrong this time.
Like, ghosts is in multiple.
Yes. Last tale I heard, there were 3.
Great.
Do you know
Good
the names
to
of the
know.
others?
No.
Why would Lord Storm Kirk bother with children's tales of ghosts and such? At any rate, we should probably get going.
See, this one gets it.
Yes. There's another part of the... Before I forget, one last thing. There's another part of the hall that we haven't yet discovered, and it's locked. 5 keys. If you know anything about those, please let us know so we can, fix that and see what's downstairs properly.
He just kind of stares you down.
Trevlon,
Just in
get
interest.
going.
And yes, I will get going now.
Alright. You stand up, Storm Kirk gives another curt nod, and you head out of Batten Rance Hall, back onto the map, making kind of a sprint for Port Myrandu.
By the by, Trevlon, what did you do with the money I gave you a little while ago?
Oh, you mean for the shield?
For the shield, yes.
It's being sent this way. I made a special order. Something you can use that will be a little bit more suited to a man of your skills.
Oh, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
I was having a good day. I don't know if I'm going to have many of those in the week forward, but we'll just have to see.
We'll do what we can.
Right.
So, Trevlon, what exactly do you know about that banker, Nalur Nalad, and the lower monsoon?
Alex, what does Trevlon know?
Make a history check.
It is not.
You don't really know anything about Nalur Nulad. The lower monsoon district, however, you do know about since you used to live in the slums. It is so named because it is dangerously close to sea level, and it rains a lot. I think you can understand where the name comes from, Trevlon.
As for Naluna Lad, no idea. But, Monsoon District, it's, well, there are some places in Port Myrandu that are better kept than others, and it is not one of those places. It is damp, wet, and partially flooded basically over half the time.
Good to know.
Yep.
So in other words, make sure to take cover as much as we can.
If we can find it.
I don't know what you all are talking about. Rain's no issue at all, says Corellian, who is covered in scales and basically waterproof.
Do you have Mushka out?
Muska is out, yes.
As you say this, Mushka just turns to you and tilts her head.
I will give her scritches on the neck, because I presume I'm riding her since we're traveling, and just don't worry. If you get wet, I'll brush you out.
Mushka purrs happily.
Oh god, I love her.
Wasn't that
I love her so much.
Alright, so there's really no reason to go anywhere but Port Myrandu, so I'm just going to roll for encounters as you go there. The morning passes without incident. Late morning also passes without incident. Afternoon, it's random encounter time!
Ooh, boy.
Oh boy, everyone's favorite!
Oh boy!
Great!
Alright. Okay.
What are we gonna get?
What are you gonna get? Alright. As you walk to Port Myrandu, you pass by some farmland, and a leathery-faced, wiry farmer looks up as you pass, and waves at you. Leathery-faced, yeah.
Trevlon waves back. And
Yes.
Momo also waves back.
I suppose we approach, yeah?
Alright.
Yeah, sure.
You approach, and the farmer's like, "Hey there, strangers. I was wondering if you could help a fella out."
What's going on?
See, I run a bee farm just here on the outskirts of Port Myrandu, and I used to make some of the best honey in this land, except for elven honey, or, well, I did. I got a new queen bee yesterday, but, like, she ate all the honey, and then she turned real big and is refusing to mate, move, or communicate.
So what you're basically saying is the queen has gone rogue, essentially.
Yeah, I was hoping some of y'all could, I don't know, like, whip her into shape, scare her into do or something.
Scare her, you say?
I mean, I don't know. She ain't reacting to anything I do.
Well, I will see if musical theory has anything to say about this.
As long as it doesn't take too long.
All right.
Be careful, Trevlon.
I'll be fine.
I mean, we're going with him. We're not going to let him go alone.
Well, obviously not.
The farmer leads you over to where he's keeping the bees, and sure enough, there is a bee about the size of a halfling just kind of plots down on the ground, looking lazily back and forth as other bees buzz around her.
That is a very big bee.
It is
Yeah.
me-sized.
That is the biggest insect I've ever seen in my entire life.
I really wish we could ask Mariak for advice right now.
Do you recall how she got this large in the most respective way?
She ate a lot of honey.
Well,
See what honey it was?
I mean, I would love to, but like I said, she ate all the honey.
Okay.
that is quite the appetite for such a small... Oh, yeah, okay.
We have a job to do, don't we?
Yes, yes, we do.
Are you sure you really want to just go, doing rash things when Krellian, looks at the bee, looks at Trevlon, they're the same size?
I am looking for distractions right now. And if one of those distractions is a bee sting the size of my entire head, then so be it. Don't mind the pun.
No, not so be it. That would probably kill you, and then where would we be?
We have a bird who can help me not be dead. It's fine.
Wait, what?
No, don't worry about that. And Trevlon starts moving forward. pipe in hand.
Okay.
Quickly, is this like any bee I've ever seen before in my life? Do I know anything about giant bees on any sort of off chance?
I am curious about that as well.
Why don't you make a nature check with advantage?
Go for it, Melvin.
Oh,
You're well read. I'm not.
okay, sure.
Okay.
Too bad.
Giant wasps do exist, but you think that this is just an ordinary bee that has somehow been, like, blown up to gigantic size. Probably something to do with the honey rather than the bee itself.
Can I roll to see... can I roll Arcana to see what's up with the honey?
Sure, if roll
It's
20
gone.
isn't fucky.
Can someone roll for me, please?
Who has control of Momo?
I do. Don't blame me if this goes wrong.
I won't.
Alright. Even though there is no honey, the farmer did say he makes the best honey in the land. It perhaps had some addictive properties that the queen bee just, like, could not stop eating, and then grew to the size of a halfling and refuses to move, mate, or communicate.
So basically, we just combine our knowledge and come to the conclusion that if anything, it ain't the bee; it's probably the honey.
Yep.
Wait, I have an idea. Curly's sort of like, just, please make sure I don't get skewered by a stinger. Anyway, so Corellian is going to attempt to use Lay on Hands in an effort to remove an effect that is like poison or disease. Would an addiction count as something as like that?
You know what?
Or the effect of the honey?
You know what? I want to see where this goes. Do it.
Okay. Whilst Corellian is doing that, would I be able to roll performance to possibly make sure that that bee is nicely distracted?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Corellian sort of edges forward and then
Here we go.
taps their claw on the bee and does Leon.
Alright. Trevlon pulls out his pipes and plays a little tune for the bee, which looks over at him as Corellian goes to the other side, rests a claw on the bee, sends divine energy through it, and the bee goes... And then it barfs up this insane amount of honey on Trevlon, just covering him in honey.
Oh.
And then it does it again.
I didn't know bees could do that.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, this ain't exactly my area of expertise.
How long have you been keeping bees again?
I usually keep them when they're a lot smaller than that.
Where did you get this bee again?
I bought it from, let's see. There was a place called Needful Things over in Baylight. Brought her over from there.
Did you say Baylight?
Baylight, yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt your riveting conversation. Does anybody have a...
You know, don't you have that
digitation
clean things?
You know, my mind strangely wasn't thinking that straight. Pardon me for being slightly off my Trevlon cast prestidigitation.
I mean, it's not like honey ever goes bad or anything.
Yeah, but do you know what does go bad?
What?
My temper.
Oh, really? I'd love to see the day when that happens.
It's getting there. And Trevlon cast prestidigitation to clean himself.
Okay.
Especially sour look on his face.
You just angrily stare as you wave your hands, and the honey just vanishes from you.
I give him a pat on the back. You done did good. You did well.
So, yeah, whatever honey that bee ate, addictive or something like that, so don't let that bee eat that honey again. Crowley, like, looks at the bee, looks at the farmer, the size of the bee is very large. Yeah, just don't let that happen again.
Right, I'll keep an eye on it. Many thanks, strangers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that out of the way, you move on with a pleasant honey scent following you into Port Myrandu.
Yay.
Baylight.
Home sweet home.
Baylight. Was out of character. Put Baylight down that. Oh, you already did. Never mind.
I told you I take extensive notes.
So you do. Thank you for that.
All right.
God bless.
It is the late afternoon as you pass through the main gate of Port Myrandu and get into the city proper.
Well, I'm not sure if I should be saying home sweet home or otherwise, but we're back.
Are you even from Port Myrandu?
We started here, didn't we?
Okay.
That's-
But that's not what he's asking, though, is it?
Yeah,
Irrelevant.
I should have asked this months ago. Maybe, like, Corellian, where are you from?
overseas.
Just over no specific island in particular, or
Not any of the islands surrounding Ariane, or not any of the islands that are part of Ariane, rather. No.
right? Wow, that's a hell of a trip.
Yeah, being on a boat for a year or so is not fun.
Alex, what time of day is it?
It's late afternoon.
Late afternoon, approaching the evening.
Right. I don't know about you guys, but I'd prefer if we had the light of morning on us before we started our little expedition into try and convincing our nobles. What say we take a little step into the old tavern we usually frequent?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We do have 24 hours before the auction or the offer is finalized. So as long as we get our next bid in within that 24 hours, we should be fine. Although maybe before we do that, we should find out where we put our bids in.
I was going to say, how far is the Fiery Grog from where we need to be? Or for that matter, where we need to be from the Fiery Grog?
The Fiery Grog is, as I pull up the notes for Port Myrandu, because I have a lot of pages of notes, and not all of them are on the same document. I'm bad at organizing.
But you're excellent, and that's what
Yes.
matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Also, Roll20 hates my PC because it's being a shite.
Oh
That's
no.
okay. If you're using Chrome, maybe try Firefox, because Roll20 does not like Chrome.
Fair enough.
All right. The Fiery Grog Tavern is it's in the center of Port Myrandu, in the harbor district. The official district would be where like the official estate house is. That's about an hour and a half if it's a high traffic day to get to.
We should probably account for, well, how many people are probably going to be active tomorrow.
Might be an idea to try and set up some sort of early waking up system. Don't know how you're gonna do that.
Wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right. If you guys want to rest, go ahead, but I think I'm gonna head off to the official dress district and at least try to get eyes on the bidding and see what we're up against.
What do you all think?
I think I might as well, if I'm gonna do this job, I might as well do it right. I'll come with you, Corellian. See what we can find.
Alright.
Cool. All right. You head into the official district. You ask around. There are a couple of people in fancy clothes who roll their eyes, but you do get directions over to the official auction house. And as you enter, it's
It's a pretty fancily decorated place. There's like, it's red carpet. There's a lot of like trim on the windows, gold tassels and all that. A couple of portraits hung up. This is a place that has a lot of money passed through and is not afraid to show it. And as you enter into the auction house, you look over at the front desk. There is there's a dwarven woman who is like holding 3 conversations at once, talking to people, and she looks to be, if not the one in charge, at least the receptionist that a lot of people who go to the auction house are supposed to talk to.
Well,
I will approach. Excuse me, ma'am. We're looking for the auction for the Lower Monsoon District.
The dwarven woman turns to you. You, like all these other people, are early. It does not start until tomorrow, and honestly, looking at you, I wouldn't bother. Citibank's probably going to put no less than 100,000 down on it.
Do they usually send a representative for that, or does the leader himself come down for it?
Well, that depends on his mood. Normally, well, if it's too dangerous for him to come down, he's going to send, his little guard personal unit. But if he's feeling pretty lucky or pretty happy today, confident about his chances, he usually comes down himself.
This fella sounds like an interesting character. I mean, he must have some pretty interesting stories about him. Can I roll persuasion, by the way, to maybe make her gossip a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't believe. Came from Selkra, apparently has some of the treasures of the pharaohs when he set up here in Port Myrandu. And it has... Let me tell you basically something. His bank account is basically a bottomless pit full of money.
My God. Go.
I'd expect no less from the owner of the bank himself.
Exactly.
So, did he start the bank here, or did he come into control of it through other means?
Used to be that Port Myrandu ran on kind of a barter system or borrowing money from overseas. It was Mr. Nalad started out as a moneylender here, and well, that escalated quickly.
How long has this fella been active, if I may ask?
Oh, must be something like 30, 40 years.
Okay. Right. So, tomorrow, is there a particular time when it starts, or,
We open at 9.
9. Okay. Cool. Righto.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your name, if I may ask.
My name's Gemcel.
Is that pronounced how it sounds? Written how it sounds?
No, there's an extra E on the end.
Ah, I see. Well,
Thank you very much, Gemcel.
I'll try and remember the...
Caroline will tip her in gold.
Much obliged. Alright. Is that all you're gonna do in here?
I'm satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You head out of the auction house as Gemcel goes back to the other 3 conversations she was holding.
If it opens at 9, you should probably prepare to be around here, give or take an hour or so.
Yeah.
Or even... Nah. 9 is fine. Or 8 is fine, rather.
So, how are we going to go about doing this?
Well, we could start trying to get patronage now, or we could try to undercut Nalur as much as possible, keep it close to the time limit. So we let him make his bid, think he's being unchallenged, and then in that 24-hour time period, we try to gather as much support as we possibly can to try to get sort of ahead as much as possible. I mean, she did mention that his bank account is basically a bottomless pit, so that doesn't really bode well for us, all things considered. But the less time we give him to grow or organize his funds, the better. Personally.
Remember, we are betting in the name of Lord Storm Kirk, so we already have a good bit of money at our disposal initially. Even if we can't get too many people on our side, we at least have a starting bid that is pretty substantial.
If I may.
Exactly.
Yes, you may.
Storm Kirk said that whenever someone makes a bid that trumps the earlier bid, the clock basically resets to give all the bidders time to gather their funds again. This goes up for up to 72 hours, at which case people are like, alright, this is ridiculous, final bids now.
Got it. Okay. So, alright, if that being the case, we should... I think you've got the exact best plan then. You make him let his bid, we try and get as much support as we can within the first day, and then we challenge. And then cycle repeats.
And not only that, after we challenge, we continue to try and raise as much support as possible. We don't want to be caught off guard in the same way we tried to catch someone else off guard.
So
we need to make sure that we keep working at this until we're absolutely sure we can outbid for real.
I think that sounds good.
I don't know if we'll ever be absolutely sure we'll be able to outbid, but we can do our best, and I really don't want to think about the cost of failure in a favor like this.
Agreed.
Well, if this is our plan, let's stick to it.
Cool. For now, let's get some well-needed rest.
And we'll want to see exactly what he bids at 9 a.m.
Okay. So, you head into the Fiery Grog Tavern. For once, the half-orc bouncer, Guglug, is not actually at the door. As you head through to the Fiery Grog Tavern, you instead find him at a table with a couple mugs of ale. Also different this time at the Fiery Grog Tavern, the big water tank where the mermaid dancer used to be is covered up with a bunch of sheets of tarp.
Oh. Does it look like this place is being, what's the word?
Foreclosed?
Chapter 11'd.
Make an investigation check.
Yes, sir.
Can I help with that?
Sure.
So advantage then?
With advantage.
Hey.
Alright, the Fiery Grog has a good amount of patrons at any given night, so they're still making money. It's just that a lot of the positions where wait staff, workers, etc. are just not filled, so business is slower than usual.
Okay. That's better than it could be. As we enter, I raise my hand and wave at the doorman and say.
And say what? You cut out right after
Yeah, you cut out.
Sugar. I say hi.
Guglug, the bouncer, nods back at you, takes another sip of ale.
I sit by him and I ask, how are things?
Oh,
That-
He looks over at the upturned mugs of ale, looks at you. Well, as you can probably tell, not great.
How long has it been going like this for, then?
Let's see, he starts counting the days. It's been a couple 10 days since, they arrested Mr. Duflame. And since he's the one who manages, paying everyone, a lot of us have gone a couple months without our paychecks.
Malifane looks at the covered up tank and looks back and said, "So does that mean that she?"
Ari, who knows what Ari's up to these days? She keeps muttering shit in Aquan and leaving early in performances.
Any news about, about, one moment, I'm gonna get his name. Because I haven't written down. Tofton. There we go.
There you go.
Alright. Other than he's under arrest and he's in Port Myrandu prison and it's probably terrible, no.
Gosh darn. At some point I'm gonna need to find a way to get him out of there. I promised I would, and Trevelyan just sort of puts his head on the table and just clutches the back of his head, like, frustratedly.
Easy there. We've been occupied.
It's not at the same, occupied, yes, but at the same time, I've had loads of time whilst we've been working on the place. I could have just been...
Could have been doing what, Trevelyan?
Well, I could have been trying to find, the reason that there was a cavern down there in the first place, or at least the reason I'd like to think there was a cavern down there in the first place. Or I could have tried to find, I could have tried to find his friend who used to work with him.
Listen, Trevelyan, you are one man, and that means you can only do so much with what hours are given to us in the day. So yes, you made a promise. As long as you see it through, then that promise is still gold.
I guess.
Keep working towards it. You'll get there eventually.
And besides, we're here in the city. I mean, sure, we have a goal that we have to meet as well, but that just means all the more reason that we, well, I suppose, but that we have a side mission as well.
That's a very good point. I'm gonna try and get some more information about the person he used to work with. I think that's the best place to start if I can't find, And Trevelyan sort of looks away, just a little bit embarrassedly.
Right, well, whatever you do, I really hope it's fast. Bills and all that, they're quite nasty about collecting.
Collecting?
Yeah.
That being...
yeah, if I don't get my student loans paid,
Oh god. What exactly is the price of it at the moment, if I may ask?
Usually salary's more than enough to cover it and provide for other living expenses. It's just without, I'm running a little behind. They understand for like 1 month, but I don't think they'll be so nice for the next, you know?
How due are you? Like, how much? I mean.
How much? As I roll for how much? It usually comes to like 80 gold a month.
What did you go to school for?
Make a persuasion roll.
Sure.
Wow.
I go over to Penmea Academy, he says, looking away and taking another drink.
Oh, no, you do magic?
He does not say anything. Make an insight check.
I'll offer advantage on that.
Well, he doesn't have to do magic. They have 2 other entire wings that aren't dedicated to spellcaster.
True.
As Corellian says this, you still have a nice long look at Guglug, and you realize the fact that he's trying to evade the question about magic, and he's not looking at you when you mention it, probably means he studies magic.
He studies what?
Magic!
Don't yell at me.
And don't do a Mr. Bean snort either, whoever that was. Trevelyan,
Excuse me while I decrease the count on my gold for a second.
Yeah, 1 moment. Trevelyan looks at Mal and whispers, Arthur?
absolutely.
Travelon nods and puts forward 40 gold.
It's the least we can do.
Much obliged, he says, nodding as if the issue of him using magic is completely gone.
Oh boy, it's been a long day. That's at least I can do some bit of good today. I don't know if that's going to be a case next couple of days, but that's fine. I think I'm going to stay up for a little while longer. You guys can head to bed whenever you want to. Yeah, got a lot on my mind I need to examine.
I might need to make another payment myself. After hearing about Baylight earlier today, I am reminded that I might have another issued hospital bill coming up soon.
Oh my.
Do you need any help with that?
Yeah, we can.
How much was it again, Alex?
I think the last bill was something along the lines of 20 gold.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay. Thank you for your concern, though.
Of course.
It's
Alright.
much appreciated.
Well, okay. Get ready for tomorrow, fellas, because tomorrow we're going to do a good bit of political talk.
Yeah. And I'm gonna let you guys do all of that because I was never really taught about politics and all of that.
That's fine.
Experience.
If we need any magical muscle, we'll be sure to call on you first thing.
Momo kind of like lifts his arms, is like, check out my guns, and he just smiles.
Exactly, I felt exactly what that fireball can do, and it is something indeed.
Hey, that
That was a compliment.
I know.
I feel that compliment had layers to it.
Yeah.
Curlian just smiles and sits down next to Trevlon. I'm gonna stay up for a bit as well.
Me as well.
Well, looks like we're having a little bit of a powwow then.
As everybody gets ready to sit down, Trevlon takes out a piece of paper and begins writing an article that he wants to write. Alex?
Yes?
What would I have to roll to write an article about Batten Rance Hall and how there seem to be new opportunities to work and live there?
That would be a charisma check. I'm gonna say that would be persuasion, because you're writing an article saying, hey, come over here, guys!
Trevlon, firstly, clicks the head of the persuader and turns the magic power on.
Alright, as you click your crossbow, Guglook says, Don't do that.
No, it's magical. I'm not gonna actually fire a bolt anywhere, don't worry.
Don't do that.
I won't. I'm putting it on the floor. And Trevlon puts it on the floor.
Mal looks to him and is like, did you just point that at a piece of paper?
No, I didn't put it on a... Okay, it's... describing how the magic works would be complicated. Maybe I did point it at the paper.
There's no magic in the tavern, says Guglook, drinking another glass of ale.
Did I say magic? I meant it makes me feel good to know that my writing is under threat, physically. I'm going to continue writing now. Don't be alarmed by the cross... And Trevlon...
He's intimidating the words into his service. Do not question the artist as he works.
It is a visual aid.
Visual? Sure. Yes, it's a visual aid.
That looks like we needed an advantage.
I'm taking the 12.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but your explanation was so crappy that it canceled out the persuader.
Fair enough.
Your writing is rather transparent, Trevlon.
Okay, well...
The equivalent of a corporate Twitter account.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. Fuck it. Calligrapher's supplies be damned.
Okay.
Wow, you're actually gonna give this a go?
let's see how this goes. Why not? Pray for me. Yeah,
It's 1 point better.
1 entire point better. You write the same thing, but in very fancy font.
I'm just picturing now that one SpongeBob episode where he just writes really long for a really long, extensive amount of time, and then he just has that really fancy
break time.
Well, that's enough writing for today. Bye.
Yep.
Exactly.
So, Momo, while these two are working, do you know what Trevelyan meant about the whole not having to worry if he, kicked it?
Momo is in a BRB, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like
Damn! I am a fool! An absolute fool who should have read their notifications.
Quick, Momo impression, go!
No.
Oh,
that's a really good Momo impression.
Did I say the secret?
Well done, Alex. That was clearly you.
That was me.
You are busy with their, writing and all that. Do you know what Trevelyan meant with the whole not having to worry about, whether he kicked it or not?
What exactly?
Well, when we were trying to resolve that whole giant bee thing, Trevelyan mentioned that he didn't need to worry even if he died. Do you know what he meant about that?
Mama kind of rubs his other arm. Not exactly, but you have a right to question it. It was a little worrying.
Yeah, usually he's not that blasé about his whole life and all that, so just a little concerning.
He did have honey vomited on him, so maybe he was being a little cynical?
That was before the honey.
As Trevelyan and Mal are writing about this, Trevelyan looks very frustrated and looks at Momo and shouts, "Hey, do you think you could possibly revivify this thing too? Just..."
Momo looked up. Yeah. Sorry, I'll be back. And Momo goes to help.
I'm trying to say that
Would I know what spells are called? Do people know these things? Is that like...
Not unless you've gone to like a specific academy that writes that shit down.
Okay.
Well, no, I've never done that. Fuck.
Out of character. This is amazing. Trevelyan was commenting on the fact that if he gets killed, Momo will be able to revive him, and it's been turned into, man, is Trevelyan feeling okay? I'm really worried about his personal health. And it's
I don't know that Momo can raise the dead. I wasn't there, so I'm asking.
Very true.
Don't you know Momo can animate the dead by now?
Okay, animating the dead and raising the dead are very different things, and I have very different interests in those two things separately. Which is why I'm asking.
I completely misunderstood the conversation.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
I literally just got back from what I had to quickly do.
That's
so
okay.
Rip and skip me and Momo.
Do you want to maybe try that conversation again?
Let's rewind.
That's hot. Anyway,
rewind. Does that mean we can rewind the calligrapher's test and the persuasion test?
No.
It was worth the shot.
Was it really though? Anyway,
yes.
Momo, Trevelyan mentioned that he didn't have to worry about whether he, died or something like that. Do you know anything about that? It's a little.
Oh, well. Funny story, actually. When we were... I can't remember exactly where we were going. Well, out of nowhere, this guy just fell out of the sky, right? And he lands right on the ground and he's basically dead. All of his bones are broken, and me and Trevelyan start panicking, and I remember, hey, I think I know what to do. So I go over to him, and we spare a few pieces of gold, and I revived him.
From the dead.
From the dead.
You can do that?
I guess so. It was honestly amazing.
How much Could you do it again? How much gold would you need? Had you ever done it before?
No, that was the first time I've ever done it. But I can recall we needed about 200 or 300 gold pieces, I believe. Is that correct?
It's 300, I think.
Cool.
That's...
It's a hefty price, but...
No, that's... Caroline sort of, like, stares off into the distance for a bit.
Is everything okay?
You could do that again, do you think?
I could surely try. If I could do it once, I could do it again.
Alright. Sorry, I didn't know that you had the ability to bring someone back, and he was, fine afterwards, right? He was still, he
had a few broken bones, but we fixed it, of course. But after that, he was completely fine, besides the shock of being thrown an entire mile into the sky.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to play
Corellian,
20 questions or anything like that.
No. What made you ask? If you don't mind me asking.
Carlin sort of like bites her tongue a little bit. I made a promise to someone a while ago, and it involves a resurrection of sorts. So, naturally, I've been either saving up or looking for someone who can do things like that so I can make good on said promise. That's all.
Well, Momo, takes Corellian's claw in his hand. I'd be willing to help if you'd let me.
I think that maybe if...
Well, when the time comes, if you need it, you know I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Momo rubs his back and nods.
Right. I'm gonna go make this bar some money. Any of you lot want a round?
I'll take one.
Great. Anyone else? Other than you, Mal.
Alright, you call out for a round, and the bar erupts in cheers. As you're looking around, you notice that there are a couple of new faces in the bar. A lot of them Okiti. Basically, around half a human-sized rat men have set up some tables in the bar, and they're like chatting amongst themselves. And when you offer to buy the bar around, they start whooping and hollering, really excited like.
I love Okiti so much.
You hear that, boys? You are being represented in fiction.
Listen, Walrus is not on camera, but I can guarantee you he is talking to his rats.
I am.
He's talking to the lads.
Talking to my sweet boys.
How much would a round be?
Let's see. Ale costs, I'm gonna call it 2 silver, because it's mass buying, and I'm going to roll to see how many people there are in the Fiery Frog Tavern right now.
Oh boy.
Oh god, so I had a D100. I rolled 100.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's against building code, Alex. This place is gonna burn down and they're all gonna die.
It's fine.
I can explain this. You go first, Alex.
They're at the harbor. They've got a lot of water. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There was a window open, and Atwis's call for rounds sort of echoed throughout. So as he says this, we can just hear the sort of the table shaking and things moving as a lot of sailors just come into the bar.
Boom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's 20 gold. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
You could see sailors pressing their faces against the window.
Actually, I'm going to say Okiti are very, very good about packing themselves together. So, like, what you thought was 5 Okiti table is more like 10, because a couple just, like, pop up from in between the others. So, yeah.
I can admire that. Having been raised in a whole, yeah. Can't
Yay,
relate.
cartilage.
So yeah, 20 gold paid. Round on me to distract people from me. Yeah.
Cool. You buy a round, and the Goliath chef / doubling as bartender gets very busy pouring a shit ton of ale.
Well, this'll help business.
Indeed.
That was the aim. Anyway, did we buy a room yet?
I will. I'll pay.
Cool. You pay for a room, which is 5 silver a night. How many nights are you gonna be at the Fiery Grog?
Maybe 3?
Yeah, I would assume the 3 is our.
I'm assuming so.
It's our minimum.
Cool. All right.
We'll add on to that as time progresses.
You pay for a room for 3 nights. Guglug nods and says thanks. The Goliath nods and says, ugh. And you head upstairs to your cramped as hell room.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Love that smell of sadness.
Smells like ale to me.
Who's the sad one here?
Well, I will. Well, it's probably the one that smells of honey. Weirdly, I'm gonna go.
Oh, is that the one who's also eating his words right now?
Yeah, it's also the one who's slowly but surely, kind of, just getting smaller by the minute, and I'm not talking physically. I'm going to. I mean, emotionally, I'm just cramping up here. I'm going to go and lie down because I've not done that in a little while. Yeah. And as soon as Trevelyan says that, he collapses into a bed.
Nice. There's really just the one bed in here.
Oh.
I will sleep inside Mosca's curled up like self. I have my own bed, bitches.
Nice.
Mama
I guess
will
I'll
get
just-
on the edge of the bed that Trevelyan is on, just like where Trevelyan is sleeping. Momo's like on the complete opposite side, just sleeping on the corner.
Well, they're
As to
both
not disturb
small,
him.
right? They can both
Yeah.
fit.
Also, for visual aid, you know that one pose that Seth MacFarlane uses for every single time that a Family Guy character falls? Is that?
What?
Yes.
You've
Yes.
never heard?
The broken arm ass.
Yeah. Somebody. Okay, I need to. Okay, continue. I'm gonna go find a picture for Scott.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take out my my bedroll from my explorer's pack and just sleep in that, I guess.
Babagath just collapses onto the floor and starts sleeping there.
Good man.
Right, Tavagath's here. He's been awfully quiet recently.
Bav has had lot of
He's-
things to think about.
He's
Mostly gold.
reading.
Yeah, he's reading.
fine.
Not until Phil's here, he's not.
Ah, frick.
Yeah, I would hate to have Thavagath kick the bucket completely over a completely avoidable curse that he could have avoided by not disturbing.
When does that pass over? Jesus.
He's still got a couple weeks to go.
Jesus. I want to share some of the stories I wrote.
Don't
Oh.
worry. As far as he's concerned, you have.
Whoa. Why do
Anyway.
I always draw Trevelyan in a fedora?
All right.
It appears
How
because. It appears because
You dreamt it.
Yeah,
He's a
and
nice
also
guy.
Trevelyan is. All right. I'm not for dismantling headcanons and things like that. If you ever say that again, Jojo, I will be beyond upset. I will go into a stage that I think no human has seen before.
Okay, he's a nice guy, but he's not a nice guy TM.
That is pretty much
Right.
that is correct.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Why I
Clarified.
would never insult him like that. I'm insulted that you think I would insult him like that.
We would
Oh,
never
alright,
presume that
moving
he was
on.
a Reddit user like that.
Moving on.
All right. So now that we're done with that, and it's never going to come up again. We moved to the next day. Luckily, you didn't have to really make a plan to get up early because the Fiery Grog Tavern is noisy as all hell, and you get up kind of early anyway.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Indeed it is. What time is it right now?
Around 7 o'clock.
We have an hour,
just
which
early
means we
enough.
should leave now.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we have 2 hours last we checked. But,
No, it's an hour to an hour and a half.
Well,
We should leave now before we hit the rush of traffic. Does traffic count? Traffic!
Foot
yes.
traffic. Yeah, foot
Foot
traffic counts.
the traffic is a thing.
Okay. You immediately get up and get moving. You know, in a lot of animes, those scenes where like a kid is running to school and only has like a single breadstick in their mouth that's bread.
Oh my god, yes.
You're doing that.
That's iconic.
You're all basically doing that, freshening up, eating, and all that, while running for the official district.
God.
There's a little bit of foot traffic, but it's not totally cramped, so it takes you about an hour and 15 minutes to get there. And when you do, you see a bunch of well-dressed human guards, you imagine, holding spears, shields, and swords and stuff. And among them is a very fancily dressed, ash-skinned tiefling with, like, dark black hair and ram horns curled around his head, and a bunch of rings on his fingers.
He a pimp?
It just...
Take 5 pimp slap damage.
Momo, would you know a pimp if you saw one, church boy?
No, he wouldn't,
I thought.
but I do!
Did Storm
Jojo,
Kirk
why are you familiar with pimps?
You only just turned 18!
Hey!
Storm-
I live in a very, very dangerous part of the world. I'll tell you later. It's a very interesting anecdote.
Did Storm Kirk I'm sorry. Did Storm Kirk ever provide, like, physical descriptions of any of these benefactors, or...
No.
Oh.
Ooh. I'm to use intuition!
You got this.
Oh boy.
So, okay. First off, remind me, so while we're here, are we looking for one particular guy, or are we just looking for any?
Well, the plan was to come here to figure out exactly what Nalur was going to bid on the Lower Monsoon District as a start.
Okay, cool. So this person might be, this person might be, Nalur, then?
I was gonna say, if I were a betting man, I'd say this is our guy.
Does Trevlon, sort of breaks away from the group just briefly and sidles up to one of the people who are sort of waiting around, and, he sort of coughs and makes his presence known to whoever who's managed to sort of get next to, and says, "Excuse me, I'm quite new in town, very interested in the local politics of the area. The tiefling over there," and Trevlon indicates to the very tiefling. He seems like he might be someone I should be talking to about that sort of thing. Do you know who he is?
Make a deception check.
Deception, okay.
Oh.
Quit bullshitting me, journalist, says one of the guards.
Well, it was worth a shot.
You know damn well that's Nalur Nalod.
I suppose I did. Fair enough. You got me good. Thanks, sir. And Trevlon moves back towards the group and goes, "Yep, that's him."
Figured. So...
suppose, well, the plan of attack now is to... Let's just see who we're up against. Observe him.
In we go, let's observe.
Alright.
Never seen an auction before.
It's not too much to it. I mean, even at a larger scale, they're all round about the same.
A lot of bang bang and the bid, and bam, you got your thing.
How many auctions have you been to, Malivane?
What, you think I've actually been to any of them?
I mean, I have, Corellian says, as a member of a merchant's guild.
It's called a book. I'm very sheltered. That's out of character. Please forgive me.
That sounds in character to me, but...
No, that still sounds pretty in character. All right. So,
Anyways.
what are you going to do?
I mean, I'd say go into the auction hall where the estate auction's being held and see what we're up against. Not necessarily make any bids of our own quite yet.
Great.
As we
You
have
go up to the
24
auction
hours.
hall, reach for the door. Chung chung chung. It's locked. They don't open
Oh,
until
yes.
9. Calls one of the
Yes.
guards.
Yeah, figured as much.
Listen, I just want to get a good seat.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You can wait with the rest of us, you friggin' loiterer.
Where's the line? How long is the line?
It's a couple blocks back.
Fine. I'll go find the end of the line. Whatever. Corellian
Neat.
goes to find the end of the line.
Trevlon will follow, and as he is doing so, Trevlon keeps an eye out amongst the crowd and sees if he sees anybody else who seems particularly, well, important, I guess.
Okay, make a perception check.
Can I offer help with that?
Sure.
Or
I
I
also
just roll?
offer help.
Only one of you can for advantage, so.
Either way, I got the help. Here
I
we go.
hope in spirit.
Wow, that's not so good.
It looks like, a lot of the people are not really all that well off compared to the tiefling. You would wager that if they're not guards, they're mostly kind of trying to push and shove their way through an unorganized crowd to get a look at the tiefling himself, and the guards are like keeping them away from getting too close. So it's not really there's a line to auction, it's more like there's a line to go talk to the head of the bank.
It seems like most people aren't really here to participate in the auction. Looks like most people just want to have their loans looked at.
Well, yeah, do most people in Port Myrandu have 100k excess in gold they're willing to put up to buy an entire district or part of one?
No. Okay.
It's a shame you
Well.
don't know more about this guy. I thought you did a lot of stuff about, whole...
I know the guy.
It, like, lowers voice, like, corruption and all that.
Honestly, I haven't had much time to, like, when I've been doing work about the politics of Port Myrandu, I haven't been able to really get to the business end of things. I must admit, my sights have been pretty stonily set on Lion Belly most of the time, but depending on how the next couple of days go, I may make an exception.
Careful when you tangle with people whose pockets run that deep.
Well, they should be careful when they do something bad, because generally speaking, I want to know about it and tell people.
How very noble of you, Trevlon.
Not even sure if it's nobility at this point, or if it's just like... I think it might be spite.
Spite, foolhardiness,
feeling.
nobility, yeah.
Either way.
Feeling all too well.
let's just wait till the place opens. Are there, I don't know, do we overhear anything interesting while we're waiting for the auction hall to open or anything like that?
Sure. Make a perception roll to see if you hear any rumors.
I got this.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you definitely hear a couple of people talking about goings on and such. As I find the rumor table. Ooh.
Ooh.
All right. So, you take a listen. There are a couple of groups that catch your attention. One mentions, did you hear? Apparently something's going down around the clergy and stuff like that. Fergus McHells himself has been through 3 food tasters this month. Not a very secure job. 3 cooks too, I suppose, now that I think about it. And then, as you're listening for more rumors, as I roll again, you hear one person ask another one of his buddies, "You think the dwarves really found a portal down in their underports?" I mean, they are pretty good diggers, but competent at their jobs. I mean, that's something I didn't think I'd see. And as you listen for more rumors, one person sees you doing it and asks, "You! What is best in life?"
I beg your pardon?
What is best in life?
I'm sorry, I had to take a moment to... I'd say the people that you love the most?
Wrong, he says, and then walks off.
You really went with friendship, mate?
Anything can be
I
solved
went with
with the
family,
power of
damn it! I went with
friendship.
family!
You didn't go for money or, big tracts of land or anything like that? Come on.
I must be honest, I was I was so hoping for you to say family or friendship and then him to go yes and then give you a big hug. But,
How
you
long
know
have you
what?
lived in Port Myrandu?
Things happen. It's weird like that sometimes.
All right. So,
I've lived with pretty jolly people up until recently, so...
okay. So after that incident, the line starts moving in, and you can see that the auction hall is open. The tiefling makes his way up to the reception desk, spends a few minutes over there, and then turns around and starts to head out.
What's the look on his face as he goes?
Incredibly smug.
Oh, big hate energy. Right then, how close are we to actually, bidding area?
Around 20, 30 feet. Not that far.
Is Gemcell at the reception desk?
Yes, she is.
I'll go up and try to get her attention if she's not too swamped at the moment.
She looks pretty swamped, but eventually turns to you and it's like, yes, how can I help you?
Hey, Gemcell, can people put in bids without actually going through the auctioning process and sort of jerks their head towards Nellore?
Well, you see, when you're bidding at that kind of scale, there's not really any getting everyone together unless we're really desperate to frickin' end the thing, so it's more at your convenience you come in.
Good to know. Are the bids announced publicly, or could you tell me what was bid right here?
Yes, Mr. Nolad said he was going to bid 100,000, but then he heard rumors about a Mr. Storm Kirk wanting to bid that, so he just bid 1,000 and 1,000. 101,000.
If it wasn't for the fact that he was a rich asshole, I'd like his style. Oh boy. Well, I guess that's our number to beat then, for now. Don't tell anybody we said that. Just keep that quiet, please God.
Nice try, Trevlon. At any rate, thank you very much, and Crowley will slip her another gold.
Cool. All right. She nods. Much appreciated, and then goes back to Another one. No, I don't know where Mr. Nalad is going. Do I look like his secretary? Do not fucking answer that! And she gets into a heated conversation with a bunch of different people bothering her at the front desk.
Nice.
I'm sorry. What? I had to do a thing. What did we miss?
We basically just asked what's Nalad at bid, and he bid 101,000 gold just to spite Storm Kirk.
Oh, I see.
So,
Bad.
I get the impression that this is not going to happen without a fight, so, we'd best get boogieing.
Boogie.
So, who should we start with first? If I remember rightly, Mal, you overheard something about Fergus?
Yes, I did. Something about some food tasters. Going through something about the clergy as well. I think he'd been through a couple of them.
Interesting. So, clergy and food.
Yeah.
Does Trevor know of any faiths in Port Myrandu that are about food? Or have food to spark something interesting?
Make a religion
within
check.
I'll help you with that.
And here we go.
You don't know of any deities that are have major temples in Ariane that worship food. You do know that part of Fergus Mattel's job as the headman of faith is the approval and blessing of various shrines that decorate the street corners of Port Myrandu. But you doubt that, a small little shrine about the size of a couple, basically, floor tiles is going to have a deity of food powerful enough to fuck with him. You think that poisoned food and the deities aren't necessarily related, other than clergy is his job.
Okay. Alright. So, we have at least a lead of where we might start looking, which would be anywhere where there might be temples and places like that.
Gee, that would be how many places in Port Myrandu?
I don't. Okay,
Well,
there's...
We know of one of them.
That's true.
But actually, a couple.
We
of
know
them,
more than
actually.
one. There was the one place I went to get my head wound.
No, we know of
looked at.
one other. Corelli
And-
take me to a shrine of Bahamut once before.
There was Bahamut and Raven Queen, and was there a shrine of Coralon that we went to?
You took me to one in order to get that ring removed once.
Right, that was Bahamut.
There was also one for Ariane as well.
So
we
that's
have
at
a
least
couple.
the point is that there are many religious establishments here. So yes, just checking every single one would not be within our best interest.
Okay, then we have to possibly, I guess, ask around for Fergus then. I mean, hell, we're in the neighborhood for powerful and popular figures. We might have good luck here.
It shouldn't be too difficult.
Right then. So, split up, look for clues then, everyone.
Alright.
We'll meet back, around here once we've had a good little search around then, yeah?
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
Trev, I'll come with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Going.
I'm going to need 2 investigation checks with advantage since you're splitting up.
Okay.
Right.
I will,
From all of
I
us,
will,
or-
From whichever 2 of you think you have the best chance.
Malphite,
I
you
have-
take me and you.
All right.
yeah, and I'll go for the Momo.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey!
Hey.
Nice.
Hey, baby, nice rolls all around.
Alright. Trevlon, you do indeed check the temple district where, the main major 5 temples of Port Myrandu are and ask around. You even ask your sister because she works at the Temple of Iowan and are like, hey, Fergus McKells, does he come here often? And she's like, not really. He usually leaves the temples to do their own job. In fact, he stays home unless it's a major holiday. What with, a lot of people apparently trying to poison his food and kill him. There's apparently going to be a festival of some kind tomorrow, so you might be able to catch him then.
All right, fair enough. That is dang good info. Thank you for that, sis.
Yeah, of course. Meanwhile, Malifane, you and Corellian ask around about Fergus McKells. You also get told he would much prefer staying inside, given that apparently 3 people have tried to poison him in the last month. But you turn your questions over to asking about Giovanni Goldtooth, the Grand Aegis of the City Guard, who is also one of the people that Lord Storm Kirk wanted you to find. And you're told that, like, unless there is a major crime or something is making it personal, the Grand Aegis usually doesn't go out to investigate anything, and does not like the company of people too much. So, one person jokingly says, I guess if you're wanted for murder of his son or something, he'll come to you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Not an option.
Wait, did you say murder of a son or his son?
His son. He's got, 2 kids right now, son and a daughter.
Corellian sort of nods. Interesting. Thank you for your time.
Alright. And the group meets back up.
Any luck?
Yes, actually.
We have a pretty good lead on where we might want to be able to go. We might want to go tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure that trying to find Fergus today might be a no-go. There is a festival happening tomorrow, though, and I think that would be the best opportunity to catch him, considering he's going to be out and about. What about you folks?
No luck on Fergus, but Mr. Goldtooth there seems to be a bit of a recluse unless, well, extreme conditions are met, I suppose, for lack of a better way of putting it.
His family's involved.
Do you know what his family... Do you have any names of his family we might be able to contact? We might not need to do anything drastic if we just talk to them.
Unfortunately, I don't think we were actually able to get any names.
Well, that'll be something we have to keep an eye out for, then.
Well, we do know the location of one of the people that we should work on, at the very least. And we do need to get something done today, as opposed to tomorrow.
We do know one, don't we? Alright, okay.
So, are you gonna come along, or are you gonna stay behind?
I'll escort you and stay outside. I'll just take you to the place and maybe stay outside the door whilst you guys negotiate. I am in no mood.
Remembering his previous encounter with Lion Belly, Mal just thinks and is like, yeah, I'm with Trev on this. I think I'm gonna stay outside as well.
Guess it's me and you, Corellian.
Exactly. Tell you what, I'll leave Moska outside with you. Should anything happen, she can tell me things if you keep it simple enough.
Okay, that is a useful tool. Whilst you're there, make sure that you do tell me if he starts to yell at me. By the way, I want to know every little juicy detail, because I find his suffering amusing. I'm sorry, that was a bit cruel. Let me rephrase that.
Oh,
I am not spiteful.
I enjoyed that.
No, I'm not spiteful at all. Then if anybody says otherwise, I won't say anything.
Didn't you say otherwise last night? At any rate, off to the mayor's office. Or estate, perhaps.
Alright, okay.
Alright. You make your way over to Mayor Lionbelly's estate. You explain what you're here for. The gateman gives Trevlon and Malifane funny looks, but eventually shrugs, opens the gate to let Momo and Corellian in.
Is there an open window by any chance?
The estate is pretty big. The gate is just like to the trail that leads to the house, which, if you remember, is like created pretty weird. It's not like a standard square shape. It like twists and winds.
Oh, I do want to see how this goes, though.
We have a point of contact we can use. Let's just sit patiently and not shuffle our feet too much and just ask Moshka for things one at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
Mushka just curls up outside and starts licking herself.
Oh, good.
Good
Good
girl.
girl.
Very good girl.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
So, you walk the trail up to Mayor Lionbelly's house. You hear the distinctive sound of a cat. Apparently, he adopted a cat recently.
Good.
And you head over to the dining room where you met him before. He's busy sipping on some wine. Looks up. Was Mr. Blue Quill too scared to make the trip himself?
He had other business to attend to.
I see. Well, nice to know he thinks he's too important for me.
I believe Mr. Bluequill was following up on business that he spoke with you about last time you met. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details. At any rate, we're here on something completely different, Master Lion.
Knowing Mr. Bluequill, he most probably is not just to spite me, but if you do have other business, what would that be?
I do, actually. So, I do believe you recall the whole tiff with the hammer and it being Lord Storm Kirk's rightful heritage. Well, we actually met Lord Storm Kirk himself and are in his employ. He was very happy to have the hammer back, and we made sure to give him notice of your loyalty when it came to recovering it for him.
Of course, of course. And you're clearly leading up to something, otherwise you wouldn't have bothered coming.
You're very astute, and I wouldn't want to beat around the bush for a man as busy as you any farther. You see, Mr. Stormkirk is forming a coalition of nobility and other powerful people. He wishes to establish a foothold of power to, make sure the rest of Ariane know that he has returned and in his rightful place, and is in his rightful place as the ruler. And to do so, he needs support in the auction for the lower monsoon district that is currently occurring. I'm sure you know of this. You are the mayor, after all.
Yes, I am aware. I used to partake in those sort of auctions myself, but lately it hasn't really been working out. My last bid on Port Crane cost me quite the pretty piece of copper and just hasn't paid out as I was expecting.
If you don't mind me asking, how so?
You see, I thought it was going to provide quite the source of economic gain for this fair city, and yet it just isn't working out that way quite yet. Not a lot of investors, you see. So, you'll understand. I'm not in a hurry to go back into that business again.
That is quite fair, although this is more of a political investment as opposed to an economic one, wouldn't you think?
Indeed. So, if it is indeed political, and supposing I did offer some sort of hat into the ring, what exactly would I be getting out of this? Other than, the vague promises of favors from Lord Stormkirk, I'm going to need something more concrete than empty promises, which, traveling with Mr. Bluequill, you must know he's very good at.
There's a low purr back in Krellian's. Oh yes, of course, I'm very well aware of how journalists go about mincing their pretty words and all that. That being said, when it comes to promises, yes, I'm sure Lord Stormkirk, as any other nobility, would promise you many things. However, consider being the mayor of the city where Lord Stormkirk keeps his fortress, his main foothold of power in Ariane, the person who controls the real estate and the land. Surely that's worth more than just a promise, isn't it, Mayor Lionbelly?
Perhaps. Now then, supposing I did offer up some economic support for Lord Stormkirk's little venture, you would be able to guarantee that whatever he does with the lower monsoon district, I'd get a... Oh my goodness, how do I put this? A cut of the action that goes down there, so to speak.
I want to. Okay. I want to send a message to Lord Storm Kirk asking if this would be acceptable to him using the sending spell, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea. What do you think, Outwit?
Could you please give us a moment to confer with Lord Stormkirk directly?
Fine. Make it quick.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sort of like lead Momo away a little bit, like out of earshot.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I know. Go for it.
Okay. I prepare to say what I need to say, and I tell him Mayor Lionbelly will support you if he gets a cut of your economic, like, money. Or how would I phrase that?
Give me a second to words. Words are hard.
Fair enough.
Mayor Lionbelly guarantees his support as long as he retains a share of the economic. I wish I had a thesaurus right now. As long as he gets a share of the economic dividends.
Okay. I say what Carillion said in the spell, and I send it.
Okay.
Come
You send
on,
a
you
message
big
to Lord Stormkirk, and you get a message back. There's first a long, exasperated sigh.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If he can get enough money to get over the bank's bid, fine. Say he can get whatever he wants.
Momo, like, when the message was sending, you saw Momo, like, tense up, but then after he heard that, he, like, oh, thank God. He said that as long as we can get...
You're saying this to just me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you for clarifying. He said that if we can get over the bank's, what did he say again, Alex?
The bank's bid, basically. He basically said, fine, promise him whatever, just get the damn money.
He basically said, just get the money and win the bid, or whatever.
Caroline purrs again. Thank you very much. And we'll sweep back towards Mayor Lionbelly. We've just spoken with Lord Stormkirk, and he agrees.
Excellent. So glad we could come to an agreement. I'm sure that I could find, let's say, 5,000 gold in my coffers to aid your little adventure.
Only 5,000 gold is the mayor. Surely you find it more in your interests to keep as much of a hold on the land here and not make it all go towards the bank, yeah?
As I said, I am not eager to get back into this. It is only through this political promise that I'm even interested. You should really consider yourself thankful I even bothered.
Of course. Much obliged. And as long as the bid is won, then of course the offer stands. Or the promise stands, rather.
Alright. So, he nods and is like, well, if that's all, feel free to leave.
Momo nods his head. Thank you so much.
Alright.
And, like, leaves. Exit the premises.
Much obliged, Mayor Lionbelly. Please expect some good news soon, if possible.
Alright. You head out of the estate, doors get closed behind you, and you get to the front gate as it too closes behind you, and are reunited with Trevlon and Malifane.
Krellin just holds up a 5.
Is that 5,000 or 50,000 or 500?
The
What are we
first
Right.
one. You know, I think he would have really enjoyed seeing you there, Trevlon. All he could talk about was you, practically.
I'm sure he could. Well,
When are elections held in Port Myrandu?
very good question. I'd love to know that myself.
Is the mayor an elected office in Port Myrandu?
That's a very good question, Alex. Is that the case?
The mayor is an elected office, yes.
Does anyone go run against him?
Make a history check.
History, you say?
Mayor Lionbelly is a very successful politician. He has won several terms against several challengers in a row. The challengers are still around. It's just that, they lost in terms of votes pretty badly.
Lionbelly has a very swift silver tongue if he needs it. He can convince a lot of people that he's worth voting for. Or at the very least, he can convince the more affluent people that he's worth voting for. And they do the rest, mate.
That's what matters. How long is he the mayor?
Alex?
Sorry.
Let's see, No, I know there's a specific number of years for this, I'm just trying to remember. Somewhere around, 10, 20 years or so.
Wow.
A while. Just put it that way. Long enough to get it, to get frustrating for me.
Long for him to be leverage. For his support to be leverage.
That's true.
Damn, I
Keep
hate
in mind.
dealing with nobility in all this.
You have.
Hey, I'm with you.
You have a friend in. Okay, we managed to get one on our side, so that's good. So
We know
in
we can find
terms of
Fergus.
tomorrow, we can find Fergus tomorrow.
We don't know anything
The
about
other-
Redwald, though.
And Giovanni, did we know? And Giovanni is basically a bit of a mysterious figure until we can figure out a little bit more on his family.
Yes.
Actually, is Giovanni a dude? Just for clarification.
Giovanni is a dude.
Right, okay. Okay, right. I say, what time is it, by the way, Alex, in-game?
It's mid-afternoon.
I say, while we've still got a little bit of time left in the day, we have a little ask around about, Giovanni, and if we have time, about Redwald's family. So, we good? Want to split up again and see what we can do?
Suppose it's worth a shot.
Might just
Right, so, teams of 2, let's do this.
Alright, investigation check, my boys.
Alright. With advantage again?
With advantage.
Yay.
Alright.
I sucked this time. Hooray. I am not getting the best rolls.
Alright.
But you are getting good rolls, and we love you for
You're
it.
getting good rolls.
Yeah, I believe in you.
They're not failures, are they?
Godlon, you ask around about Roderick Redwald's family. Apparently, he is a single dad, only has one daughter, Marina Redwald.
Oh, that definitely implies that son's dead. Currently.
wait. No, the daughter and son
No.
were of a
You're
different
asking
person.
about Roderick
Yeah, that was a
Redwald's
different
family, not Giovanni Goldtooth's family.
Also,
Yeah.
out of character, can I just say I
Oh.
love that name? Marina Redwald. That is adorable.
It just worked out
Anyways,
really well.
Yeah, it did.
So we are asking about Redwald's family.
Yeah, you did say Redwald's family, so I'm like, okay, yeah, you asked about that.
And he has one living descendant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, and was the 2 children for Goldtooth, or was that for
2
Redwald?
children was for Goldtooth.
Okay, that's cool. Then, interesting.
All right. Meanwhile, Malifane, you ask around about Giovanni Goldtooth, trying to get any rumors you can about him. You hear that he is so named because during one of his adventures, back when he did that as a job, one of his teeth was knocked out, but he had enough to replace it with a tooth of solid gold. And then, one day, it was stolen.
Huh. How did that happen?
By whom?
Yeah.
Did it get recovered? Is there any more lore?
Is there any more tooth
Guys.
lore?
It was the gut grinder, of course.
The fuck are you talking about?
Have you guys never seen the gut grinder Adventure Time episode?
No,
I've
I
never
saw
seen
that
Adventure
episode.
Time, period.
Yeah.
I had to explain for the non-believers.
The rumors are that, obviously it had to be a master thief of some kind who could take a gold tooth from someone's mouth and not be positively identified. But the current theory is that the Okiti did it.
Racist.
Oh boy. Do the Okiti still frequent our bar out of character?
You just saw them the one day, you haven't been back.
One way to guess, there's one way to find out. Alright. Cool.
Cool.
Alright then.
Okay, so, you meet back up and share the information. And I'm assuming you're heading straight for the Fiery Grog Tavern after this, based on Chevlon's hunch?
Yeah, I would wager so, unless y'all are
I have no better ideas.
Cool. It gets to the late afternoon, and you head back into the Fiery Grog Tavern. It's not as packed as it was before. There's still the tarp over where the mermaid has a little dance in the center. Guglug is back at the front door, looking at you guys, nodding as you go in. There are a few Okiti in here, but not as much as there were yesterday.
Okay, some is better than none, I suppose. Out of all of us, who wants to do a little bit of schmoozing, so to speak?
Not Malifane.
I am down for that.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to take the lead on this one. Maybe loosen their tongues with some ale. See how we go from there.
Yeah.
All right. Trevlon heads down to where the Okiti are sitting and says, "Excuse me, everyone. You don't mind if I sit here, do you? I'll have your next round on me if you'd like."
They look at you, chitter amongst themselves in Okiti, and smiles cross their faces as they turn to you. "Oh, well, we certainly would not have any objection to the payment of the alcohol, friend."
Trevlon tips his hat and heads over to the bar to pay for some drinks.
Payment of the alcohol, friend.
Payment of the alcohol, friend. All right, there are 7 of them, so that's 14 silver total.
1 second. Okay, cool. I have paid.
You have paid. All right.
I return with mugs of good stuff.
Yeah, they laugh amongst themselves as you carry a bunch of mugs of ale over to their table. I'm assuming Momo helps, because Momo did want to be part of the convo.
Yes.
All right. And then one of them puts his hands on the table, leans forward. "So, what exactly does Tiny Man have business traveling around with Birdman, who should be dead, yes?"
Oh, yeah, long story about this fella. Well, to be honest, I'm in the habit of learning more about the local myths and legends of Port Myrandu. I'm a bit of a journalist myself.
Yeah. Seems you are getting very good lead, considering myth and legend is standing next to you, yes?
Very much so.
I love the voices.
Trevlon laughs and says, and continues on. Yes, I am doing a quite cracking job so far. And he smiles at Momo a little. What's the word for when you're knowing about something behind somebody else's back? Is that
Smug? Satisfied?
Satisfied. Let's go with that. Yeah, it's been going great, but there's one rumor that's been particularly interesting that I've been dying to know the true story of. It's like there's this one politician in town, well, not even a politician, a guardsman, or is Goldtooth a guardsman, or is that
his full
He's the
title
Aegis
was
of the Guard.
Grand Aegis of the Guard.
Yes, the Grand Aegis, in fact. Goldtooth was his name. And I heard he was called this for a very particular reason. That being that he had a gold tooth. Pretty self-explanatory. But I heard he somehow got it stolen. Now, I gotta say, I am not at all advocating that the theft of any guardsman is a good thing. But if I were to comment on something, I would say that is a legendary thieving. I don't know how anybody manages to steal something right from someone's mouth. And
How would they even accomplish that without them noticing?
exactly, that's what I'm really curious to know. Can I possibly roll persuasion to make them a little bit to sort of add to this possible?
All right.
Intrigue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Can I get an advantage since Momo's helping me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, please. Oh, God, yes.
All
There we
right. The Okiti giggle, chitter amongst themselves, and Okiti, one of them turns back to you. He sounds like very silly guardsman. How is one losing tooth out of own mouth? Maybe should keep eyes on it, except that would be difficult now that I am thinking.
How so?
Well, silly little man, have you ever looked down and seen your own teeth without looking into glass?
That is true. So presumably he wouldn't. So, let me get this straight. He presumably must have been asleep one night. Presumably, that's just what I'm assuming. Or because there's unless God forbid somebody punched him and took his tooth while he wasn't looking.
I think people would be able to feel if someone took a tooth from their mouth, am I right?
Feeling, perhaps, unless someone was numb there from, say, I don't know, putting gold in mouth. I hear people bite down on gold all the time to check if it is legit. Maybe it was not legit anymore. Who knows?
Can I roll insight on this particular Okiti to see if the fact that he knows this information is revealing of the fact that he may in fact know where the tooth is located, or just has it?
Yeah, go for it.
Just normal or with advantage?
I'd say just normal.
Gotcha. Please work. Yeesh.
Oh, baby.
All right. He is not answering straight up questions about where is the tooth, but you haven't really been asking those questions.
That's true.
I don't want
Trevelon.
to seem racist.
That's true. Trevelon chuckles to himself and takes a sip of ale and goes, I'm curious to where the tooth might be now. I wonder if it's been sold off already.
I don't know.
Could have been.
Maybe.
Would have taken incredible skill to take tooth from mouth and not be positively identified. And then another Okiti laughs, whispers something to his friend, and is like, you know, I remember great Okiti leader back in the day who might have had the ability to pull off the job.
You do? I would... Pardon, I'm getting very fussed about this. I would love to do an interview with him. Anonymously.
Oh, well, I'm sure if you find Vitis Ricky Vekan, you can make sure to get that information out of him.
Trevelon's a bit slack-jawed at the name and tries to put it together in his head and nods and says, got it. I'll remember that with all of my...
He's very excited and very flustered. He's a big fan of this man. This guy.
So, Trevlon, have we settled that bet yet? Did they have to do magic or not?
Okay, one second. Excuse me, folks. I've got to get back to a companion here. I've been settled a bit of a hefty wager.
Cool.
Enjoy your drinks.
All right. As you walk away and
softly.
say you're a big fan, they chuckle amongst themselves once again.
I don't know
First-
if I did you a favor or ruined something.
No. You gave me a really good story to work with. They took that legend thing, I think, pretty nicely. Okay. Trevlon moves towards the rest of his companions and says, "Alright, I've got a name where we might be able to start. Yes, Goldtooth is fond of his family, but he is also fond of his tooth, which he does not have anymore. And I might have a name."
That being...
His name is... Oh god. It's a long one. And it's... Vitted... Oh,
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get this right in one go, and you all are gonna applaud.
Come on.
Viti Strick if I can.
Oh my god!
Right, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I will take my Oscar later.
Oscar's already happened, my dude. Sorry.
You are going to break into Mahershala Ali's house and steal his Oscar and be like, "Fuck you, Mahershala Ali, you can't pronounce speech as quick if I can."
Scratch that, I'm just gonna steal an Oscar winner. I'm gonna just take Rami Malek and just own him.
Take it from DiCaprio, and the cycle begins anew.
Yeah, it's true.
Leave Leonardo DiCaprio alone. He did his best.
He's trying.
He is trying.
He's trying his best.
And then again, I also probably shouldn't do slavery. That's bad. Right. Okay, so we have a goal for either tonight, if we have enough strength left in us, or tomorrow afternoon if we have some free time after the festival. We have two jobs. We have two things we might be able to do. Either we find a way to get in contact with Goldtooth and tell him about this possible name, or we find Vidistrick if we can personally and see what his price is.
Right, and one of us should go to the auction house and put in our counteroffer before the 24 hours.
That's the ticket.
So I'll go do that and try to get that in right as the place closes.
Really make sure that our time is as long-winded as possible.
Well, it was 72 hours after an extension, so it's 24 hours for the first, and 72 hours after the extension to get a counteroffer.
I may not have explained it too well, but because it's a main mechanic of this particular part, let me do it again. Alright, so when someone outbids the last bid, that resets the clock back to 24 hours. People can't do that for more than 72 hours, because that's the point when the auction house is like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, just get everyone over here and finish it."
So in other words, it stacks. So 24, 48, etc., etc.
So 24, and if you bid an hour, if there's 2 hours left, it goes back to 24. If there's 22 hours left, it goes back to 24.
Okay, and so the 72-hour point is if that happens for 72 hours in a row? Just to make sure I'm understanding you.
Yeah, if there is no winner after 72 more extended hours, or like 72 hours total, they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, gather up everyone. We'll finish this now, okay? Okay.
Okay, and that's the 72 hours after the very initial bid.
Yes.
It's
Thank
like a very drawn-out silent auction.
Thank you very much.
That's Scott, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, it was so much fun to draw.
Anyways.
Okay, it's starting to get late now. We might want to start getting ready to do this next part of the plan. So, who's going to the auction house, and who's going to help me look around for the district? I got it right once. I'm just going to call him Vidi.
And when you say I'm just going to call him Vidi, one of the Oki's like, "We do not do shortened names. You have to say the whole thing, otherwise we won't know."
Oh my god.
Viti's
Tricky
Pecan.
There we go. That wasn't so hard.
It really isn't.
No.
Viti Scricky Vican.
Did I do it?
It's not difficult,
You
it's
did.
just long.
I'll go to
Well-
the auction house. All I need to do is call in the next bid, so. that's fine. Then you lot can go off and do, the important thing.
Okay. Okay, keep in mind, if you didn't do this, Corellian, our job would be lost immediately. So, important is kind of a vague concept in this
Details, just get the rest of the job going. It's fine.
Okay. Right. Before Trevlon and the rest decide to go, does Corellian look like, does he look a bit disgruntled at the fact that he's going alone to the auction house?
No.
Okay, right, cool.
Alright.
Just making sure.
They offered to do it, so...
We love our boy. We love our boy.
We do.
Yes.
Right, okay. Trevlon is going to lead the way. I suppose, where would the majority of OKT be residing in Port Myrandu?
A lot of OKT make their homes in the slums.
Well, I guess there's no place for it. Trevlon and the rest decide, and Trevlon, I suppose, and the rest, if you guys are following,
Yes.
That we are.
to the slum.
Cool.
We go.
Alright. You head out of the Fiery Grog Tavern, through the Market District, and into the slums. Now, one thing about the slums, some of it's on solid ground. The rest of it,
It's water.
not so much. The streets are kind of flooded and made into canals through which, like, little rafts and boats are, and there are, like, floating houses and shanty shacks over there, basically. It's not a fun place to be. It's ragged, it looks like crap, and we have art for it now.
Ooh.
Oh.
I'm excited. Whoa.
Look at that good art.
Now that, it paints a picture.
Yeah. Let me actually move it up to the front of you guys so you can see the whole picture.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I think I did a different
Oh
thing.
no, now we don't know which campaign we're part of.
Oh,
Nah,
no.
get rid of those characters. Nobody cares about them. Give us uprising art. Yes.
Yes.
Oof.
So good.
It is nice.
It's beautiful.
I'll
It is.
say it
Yay,
twice.
uprising.
Yep. Welcome
Big
Oh,
E.
this
E-
is-
Clap,
big
damn
yes.
it. Clap.
Myrandu slums.
Yay! Ratman!
Home, sweet home.
What do you mean?
Mate, haven't I told you where I used to live, mate?
I don't think you did, no.
Oh, well, when little Trevlon was growing up, he did not live in the fancy high society of the other folk we've been meeting today. He lived somewhere around here. Don't give me that. Don't act all like, oh dear, I'm so sorry for you. Don't do that.
That's
It's
not an
home.
act. I'm honestly sorry
It's-
about that.
Don't be. Home's home. And you know what? It's got its problems. I'll agree with that. Many of them. But it's home nonetheless.
All homes always have their issues, but and in the end, it's a home to somebody.
Indeed.
I suppose you're right.
Now, let's go find the home of somebody known as Vitiscricket Vican. I got it right. Thank God.
Alright.
Had a bit of a stumble, but I got it.
You got it.
I did it!
Vitiscricket Vican.
Really good if I can. Yeah.
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 Chevlon, you, having lived in here, you know what areas of the slums are safe, basically, from pickpockets and other sorts of rabble. So you managed to stay to those areas, especially since it's getting rather dark, and you ask any Okiti passing by about Vitiscricket Vican. Make an investigation check with advantage.
Yeah.
Beans. Okay, 1 second.
What advantage rolls? Me like you.
Yeah, you're acting in groups for the same purpose. It's great. Alright. A lot of the Okiti laugh when you say you're looking for Vitiscricket Vican, and they all point you in different directions. Eventually, you realize that, wait, they're all pointing in different directions as to where he lives. So then you ask this ratty-clothed, skinny-looking young human living in the slums who looks up from basically huddling on top of a floating piece of driftwood, snorts and is like, Well, you guys don't speak Okiti.
It's not a name, then, is it?
It means none of your business.
We've been sent on a wild goose chase.
No.
Interesting. Very interesting. This means a lot of things. Firstly, it means that that fellow we were talking to probably knows a lot more than he's letting on. Either that, or the fact that the person who stole it is a living legend probably holds more water than I was anticipating. Maybe the Okiti are trying to protect his identity. Or her identity. Can't judge these things.
Either way, we ended up here for...
I wouldn't say nothing.
Well, where to next?
I wonder if those Okiti are still around in the bar. If they are, Mal, you're a stealthy bloke, aren't you?
I'd like to think so.
How tricky do you think it would be to follow the fellow who we were talking to home?
Oh. I suppose I could do that.
At this point, we're slightly running out of options, so if our kind source isn't exactly going to give us the information willingly, we shall do the next best thing.
I suppose we are running out of time. All right.
Yeah. We should try and head back to the tavern, but split up. If we all come back in one group, and then they'll probably get the idea that we've been had, and they'll be booking it. So
let's just hope their good friend is there to begin with.
Exactly. And if not, then well, we keep an eye out for him.
Agreed.
Cool. All right. You head back into town, away from the slums, in order to do your staggered return strategy. Meanwhile, Corellian makes the trip back to the auction house. Map, come on. I updated it long ago with not this map at the forefront. I can't believe I'm refreshing the page live on stream. I am a professional.
You are a professional, and that is okay.
You got this.
I cursed you!
Ha ha ha! Perish.
Yes, sir.
Alright. We will see how badly this lags the stream. Anyway, Corellian returns to the auction house, which is a lot less busy than it was this morning. The tiefling is in there chatting up a couple of his personal guards, and Gemcell is motherfucker! Roll 20! No, I moved it to the back!
Bum 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 ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum bum bum.
There!
Roll 20 was designed by an actual ape.
It was designed by an actual 20-sided dice.
Cool. So, you get
impressive.
You get to the auction house. The tiefling is still there chatting up a couple of his guards. Gemcell is still there. Obviously, she works some pretty long shifts, chatting up a couple of people.
Yeah, is the tiefling, Nulad, is he anywhere near sort of the secretary's desk, or sort of off to the side?
He's, like, off to the side, sitting at, like, a bench set up under a picture of, some human you don't recognize.
Cool. In that case, I will approach Gemcell at her secretary's desk, and I I will wait until she has the attention to deal with me. And then I will say that I have a counteroffer on the estate bidding, or on the
Gemcel's eyes widen. Really?
105,000 gold.
All right. She takes out a notepad and pencil. I see. And where is this gold going to be coming from?
Lord Storm Kirk and Mayor Lionbelly.
All right. She takes note. Clears her throat. Attention, all concerned. There is an extension on the Lower Monsoon District auction. The bid is now 105,000 gold. And at this, Nulad looks up, looks at you, Corellian. His face remains pretty neutral as he's looking over at you.
For funsies, can I roll insight?
Oh, yeah. Nulad is very good about hiding his emotions, but you get the feeling he is sizing you up like he would a piece of meat.
Ooh.
I will also keep my face very neutral. I will sort of give a sort of half nod, half bow to Gemcel, thank her for her time, and slip her a... I'll do 5 silver this time.
Alright. She does not complain, considering you keep on bribing her / donating stuff to her every single time you're in here.
I'm tipping her. She's a busy lady who works very long hours, and I'm also going to say thank you in Dwarven. Listen.
All right.
Everyone has student loans in this city, apparently.
Gemcel looks like she's not in the academy.
That's fine.
Cool. You slip her money, thank her, she nods, and you turn to go. And then, BAM! The door is pushed open, and there are a bunch of Okidi out there. 2 kind of burly ones for small rat men have ropes over their shoulders and start pulling in a big wooden platform with a bunch of chests on it. And as they do, you can see that on top of the platform full of chests is a stocky, dark blue furred Okidi in like a tri-corner hat and a very ill-fitting vest, let's call it. Ill-fitting lavender vest with a lot of pockets in it. And he's flanked by a couple other Okidi, one in a also not very well-fitting red jacket, who, the red jacket Okidi is looking around, waving, nodding at everyone as people in the auction house just stare. And eventually they get the platform up to the reception desk, start opening the chest. There's a bunch of gold in there. And the Okidi sitting on top of it is like, my bid for the Lower Monsoon District.
Oof. Big oof.
Alright. Gemcel calls something back in Gnomish, and a couple of gnomes step out of a back room, start examining the chests, do some calculations on an abacus. Looks like there's about 110,000 in there, all counted. And the Okidi on top nods, gets off. I take it will be safely stored here. Gemcel just slowly nods. Excellent. And the Okidi turns to leave.
Carleen sort of like leans back over to the receptionist's desk. Who was that?
She whispers, "Oh God, you know how the Okiti are with their names. They're all very long and they insist you get them right each time. Think it's someone by the name of Vincent Ericlay."
Vincent Ericlay. Got it. Thank you, Gemcel. You're truly wonderful.
All right.
I want to see where they're going. I don't want to approach them by myself. I guess I'll just sort of follow at a distance and see where they're going. It's kind of hard to miss a procession like this.
All right. After the gnomes pick up the chest and start carrying over to a back room, the Okiti, pick up the wooden platform now that it's not covered in chests filled with gold, and starts to head out. Make a stealth check.
I'm good at these. Smile, smile, disadvantage.
You're wearing chainmail. You have disadvantage on stealth.
Fuck it.
All right. So one of the Okiti, another blue-furred one, the one that was wearing a red jacket, notices you staring at his companions, kind of tracking where they're going as they're heading out. Walks over and is like, hello there. Is there something I can help you with?
Well, yes and no. Most likely no. It's a bit of a long shot.
Well, I mean, I've certainly got the time. They understand that I need to take breaks from guard duty every now and then. Personal beliefs and all that.
Personal beliefs?
Personal beliefs, yes. I need a couple of hours of meditation every day, and, the Okiti are very nice. They provide that.
This guard, he is an Okiti, yes?
This is an Okiti, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
That is very good of them to make accommodations. Have you been working for Vincent Clay long?
Well, to call it working for is kind of to misinterpret the way the Okiti are working. You see, it is all for the betterment of the whole. Whoever is, in this case, the most suited to lead at any given time is the one who gets the ringmaster leader. In that case, it would be the Captain Vince. I know his name is Vincent Clay. We kind of like having people say the full names. It's a little game we play. You can call him Vince if it's hard to remember.
I will keep that in mind, but I will also do my best to remember it.
Excellent. I'm sure they will appreciate that.
So, well, it's a little rash of me to ask this, but do you not really think you have a chance of getting your district out from underneath, the head of the bank and all that?
Well, it is certainly worth a try. We have lost too much of them. I do not want to swear. Yeah, we have lost too much to that man already. It has been very hard for us, to settle down in the slums, get a permanent settlement, as it were. And it's getting even harder now that we have competition that is trying very hard to kick us out in favor of building... Oh, God, what the... What? I'm sorry, I'm almost swearing again.
No, that is fine.
He is building marketplaces and condos back where there used to be, homes and all of that.
I can definitely see what the issue is. I know how difficult it is to settle down and find somewhere to call your own, that's for sure.
Excellent. I didn't want to say that, but considering you are a kobold, I thought I would find a kindred spirit with you.
Yeah. Curly just sort of like, not quite a defeated, but just a very understanding. Yeah, for sure. So, would your captain be perhaps willing to take a deal of sorts? I'm working for a different interest, and that interest is opposite to the bank. We'll say that much.
I am afraid I cannot speak for the captain in general. I am only a bodyguard after all. If indeed this interest is about keeping our homes, I am sure he would be more than happy to agree to a deal.
Of course. What is your name?
My name is Remeg Stiminata. You may call me Remeg if you prefer.
I love him, and I want him, and I love him, and I will take care of him!
I will love, cherish, and protect, etc., etc.
I'm going
Keep
to remember
this guy safe from harm.
Yes.
If he gets hurt, I'm going to go to prison because
If he gets hurt,
I'm even trying to rhyme
everyone is better
that.
than myself, except
I don't
for
need-
him.
I don't need to rhyme that. It's perfect.
Caroline Velis, at your service. My associates and I are staying at the Fiery Grog Tavern, if you're familiar.
Oh, I've been around the city enough to know where that is. If I need to contact you again, I shall look for you there. It has been a pleasure, Corellian Velis.
Where would I be able to find the captain or gain audience with him?
I've got to look up what the captain's
sorry.
ship is. No. There's a lot. There's a lot of notes I have for this particular part. Guess what, motherfucker? I guess we're generating that ship name on the fly because I can't find it. And we're going to change it to whatever the ship name is.
Hell yeah.
Alright.
That's how you DM, kids.
That's how you do it, baby!
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm not sure how it quite translates from Okiti into common. I do know we had to paint the common name on there because they were like, I am not remembering all of that. It is an Okiti. We call it, the Black Lightning.
That is a nice name for a ship.
Indeed it is. I am glad you like it.
I'm sure she's a beautiful vessel. Thank you. Well met, Remix Diminata.
Alright. He nods, says, I hope to see you again. Well, I should probably get going, catch up to the rest of my crew. Farewell!
Farewell.
And with that, Remek turns on his heels and walks off, a lot of spring in his step. He is very fast, especially for an Okiti.
I love him. Keep him alive.
Okay.
Sorry, I am taking many notes. Wow.
Yeah.
Big spelling. Wow. Long name. Yes.
Yes.
Basically, with all that happening, I'm gonna meet up with my friends back at the Fiery Grog Tavern because this is a development.
Cool. Alright. So, you head out, noticing Nalur Nolad still watching you as you leave and head back to the Fiery Grog Tavern. The rest of you, I know you wanted to do like a staggered return strategy. Who's going in first?
Who was going in first?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll follow.
I guess I'll just sneak. Oh, I guess I'll just hide from the doorway.
Cool. Alright, Trevlon, you head into the Fiery Grog Tavern first. Guglug is still at the door, gives you a wave as you go in, and then calls back to you, no magic this time, okay?
You got it, man.
Alright. You walk in, there are a lot less Okiti in there.
Are we gonna have any signal of any sort, or?
Well, firstly, before I try and make a signal, are the same Okiti that were here previously? Are they still here? Or
like I said, there are a lot less. The one that did most of the talking and his buddy that also did some of the talking are gone.
Yeah, they're gone. Trevelon just quickly pokes his head back outside and says, "There you go."
I am going to. You said there are a lot less Okiti. I'm going to take a shot in the dark, and I know my chances are slim. How many left in comparison to when we were last here?
2. In comparison to, I think, 7 when you were last here.
Can I check for footprints?
Make a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay. It's worth a shot.
I will say, if you manage to get this roll, I will scream.
Seriously.
Not really, but I'll internally scream.
I'll scream. I'll scream for you.
That'll be a negative.
There's a lot of foot traffic in the Fiery Grog Tavern. If they did leave footprints, they're covered up by dozens of other footprints that are just
It was
kind of
worth a shot.
Yeah. There's not a lot of dust on the floor because there's so much movement in the tavern, so there's not really anything leaving tracks as to where they've gone.
Well, this is unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but not something I didn't expect. Let's sit down.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
All right. You sit down, discuss being totally pranked by some Okiti, and after a few minutes, Corellian makes his way back to the Fiery Grog Tavern.
Welcome back, our proud investor. How'd it go?
So, there's a third player on the field.
Oh.
Caroline sort of like looks behind themselves and sort of like sits down at the table and leans in. The Okiti have gathered together a lot of money and made their own rivaling bid, 110,000 gold.
Is that so?
It is so. And in fact, the Okiti captain, I believe he was referred to as the ringleader, if I recall.
Yes, Vidis Kreki Vikan.
No, not him. Something completely different. Captain.
Fun fact, Corellian, the lad we were looking for, it means none of your business in Okiti.
A name was basically the nicest way of saying, "Hey, buddy, I don't like where you're going. Buzz off somewhere else." And he did it after I even bought him a drink.
I still have no interest in drinking, but I'm coming very damn close.
Well, the name I got was definitely not that at all. Cap Vincenariclea.
Please tell me you got a meaning behind it.
We don't have a meeting yet, but he would be very willing to meet with us if, and only if, we're willing to preserve the homes of the Okiti that live in the Monsoon District.
Oh, that's gonna be hard, isn't it?
I know it will be hard, but in Momo's and I's communications with Storm Kirk when we were trying to negotiate with Lion, he was definitely more of the whatever it takes just to get it done sort of thing. So, exactly. So, what I'm thinking is if we manage to broker a deal, the fort can't take up the entirety of the district. It would create work, and it would be certainly better than that sort of gentrification, or whatever the word was.
Besides, the fort will probably need some actual sturdy ground to build on, and there's not too much of that in the Monsoon District. I'm sure we can work something out. In any case...
Also, gentrification is basically improvements to help conform to the middle class.
Oh, it's not just that. It's making the place seem valuable. As if the human lives there weren't enough. If we can strike a deal with these folk, I'd be more than happy to help you there, mate. Gotta be honest, I've been kind of dreading that there was going to be no decent outcome to this, but if we can work something out with the Okiti here, I think we might be able to get out of this, not too morally bad.
Honestly,
It will be...
any outcome seems better than what we're currently having.
Aye. It will be definitely difficult to try and convince them, but if we manage to convince them to pool their bid with ours, as well as following up on the leads we have, we might have a bit of a fighting chance. If that, although Milad did not look happy that there were 2 counterbids, within the past hour or so.
I guess we'll find out how pissed he was when we see the new bid in the morning. I suppose, until then, we should get some sleep, everyone. We have a festival to go to tomorrow, and we should be in high-ish spirits for that.
Yeah. A festival and maybe even a trip onto the Black Lightning. That's the ship. The captain's ship. I mean, it makes sense.
Certainly like that name.
As much as the idea of getting near bodies of water that one may drown in is not exactly the coolest for me, I'll come along.
Can we not talk about drowning?
Oh no! No! I do not want to talk about drowning either. I'm just raising its being possibility, and it upsets me.
Can you not swim, Trevon?
I prefer not to.
I see.
Moving on, let us reconvene in the morning, and let's have nice dreams about festivals and raising a middle finger to the rich snobs. How about?
Let's hope none of us get separated at the festival.
You know we are rich snobs now by technicality, right?
All right. Yes, we are getting into money, but we're not snobs yet. And
you hear
before I
someone
forget,
you hear someone call. So your new money then?
More like fun money, am I right?
Okay. Before Trevor looks to Momo and smiles and says, "I'll keep a close eye on us all. Don't worry. It's not gonna go like last time." Okay. Good vibes, good dreams. We got a big day tomorrow. Let's make the.
Yeah.
All right. You all retire, and day one of this particular adventure of Port Myrandu comes to a close. We'll see what happens on day 2 next time. See you later, folks. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.
Money.